So today we'll see three different methods for making pasta frolla. That is a basic preparation of the Italian pastry. Sorry, but we have a problem with it. Okay, first of all, I will ask you, could you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I can't see anyone. Okay, I will go. Just 2 words to introduce myself. I am Giamma, that is Giammaria, and he is Nico. In 2 seconds, you will see also him. Now we are in Italy, so we are Italian, of course. So above all, you have to forgive me if my English is not perfect, of course. We come from different backgrounds from cooking or baking, because I was a hotel director while Nico was an architect. But few years ago, we decided to change our life. For me, let's say that the call arrived after the participation of a TV show that is Bake Off, that is more or less the same as this. Let's say it is the same format of the British baking show, or the American baking show. And then after this participation, I also participated in another TV show, and then I decided to change my life. Nico as well, he decided to change, so we came back to school, we took our diploma in culinary schools, and now we are here to teach you what we can, of course. As I was saying, pasta frolla is a basic preparation of the Italian pastry. It is a very ancient recipe. Let's say that the first dough that was very similar to the one we know arrives from the first millennium. But then, let's say that the modern recipes have been developed during the end of the 17th century till the 18th century. Let's say that it is basically formed by a starchy part that usually is flour. You can use whole flour, you can use white flour. The important is that it is an all-purpose flour and not a bread flour, because it has to be poor in protein. Then I will explain you why. Then part of sugar. For excellence, normally it is white sugar, but you can also use brown sugar or a powdered sugar. It depends on the product, the final product you want to realize. Of course, a fat part. It is very important to give to our dough, the final dough, the crumbly part. Normally, the fat usage is butter for excellence, but you also can use lard, for instance, because we have in Italy some recipes of the tradition that uses lard. Or if you want, you can also prepare a vegetarian or vegan one with oil or other vegetarian fat, like, I don't know, cocoa butter or coconut oil and so on. And then you have an emulsifier part that is, for excellence, egg. Let's say that more generally, you have to use a liquid part that can also be water or milk or cream, but you can also use wine or fruit sugar if you want to give a particular taste to your product. Then additional, you can also use a leading part, a raising part, but we will see it later, because you obtain a particular dough with by using a raising part, and then a flavor or more flavor, the one you prefer. It could be vanilla, you can use lemon zest or orange zest or cinnamon or almond, whatever you want, the taste you prefer. But let's talk about the 3 different methods I was talking about. The first one, let's say the poorest one, the one that belongs to the tradition, is the classic one. it is suitable for making short crust, for making rustic biscuits. And as I was saying, it is the only one that needs a raisin part, a leaven part. The second method is the sablé or sandy, simplicity, let's say. And it is suitable if you want to, it is excellent if you want to realize finest cookies, or if you want to make, for instance, modern crust, modern short crust. While the third method, that is the wicked one, it is the one we're going to realize today. Sorry, tonight, because here in Italy it's quite night. Is the one that we will see today, and it is just excellent for making loose biscuits or for making particular tarts like 𝗬𝘁𝗲𝗏𝗁 and I don't know if you ever heard about that. But it's really a really fine pastry. Okay, so I would say that we can start making the whipped method, if you agree with me. First of all, we have to preheat the oven, and we have to preheat it to 300 Fahrenheit. Giusto, Nico? 300? Yeah. So I don't know if everybody has the ingredients. Everybody's working with us. Can you please give me a feedback?
Not me. I'm just watching.
Okay, on watch.
How is watching? Lynn, what are you doing? Are you cooking with Giamma? You should unmute, okay?
Maybe
Yes.
maybe I should gather the ingredients. Yeah.
Oh, should I be cooking right now?
No, if you want.
Okay, you're cooking.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not ready.
amazing.
I was actually sewing. I was
Okay.
sewing le maschere.
Okay.
Wow. Great.
No, dopo. Grazie.
What about Michelle? What else?
Where do you guys come from?
Okay.
Or from the Bay Area, or is there an Italian or someone who has already made the short crust?
Yes.
Already. Okay, great. So you already know how to do it. Okay. So I was saying, first of all, let's preheat the oven. Then a little recap of the ingredients, of course. I will tell you the ingredients in grams, but if you need, I will try to translate them in American measure. I hope it will be right. Okay, so we will use 270 grams of flour. We will use 125 grams, 200 grams of butter, and it should be at least room temperature, not cold. Then we will use 100 grams of powdered sugar, it's here, 1 egg, and then as I was saying, the flavors. I choose my vanilla extracts, and I will also put inside some lemon zest. Okay, so first of all, we take the butter. And we put it in the bowl of a stand mixer. Everybody has a stand mixer?
I have it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. So first thing, we put it in the bowl of the stand mixer, and we use with one, of course. Then we start within the butter. It's the first action I have to do. For more or less, I hope you won't hear too much noise. But the first thing you have to put it in the high. Yes, more or less for 3 minutes, till it is white and creamy. It's more or less like making a frosting or something like that. Right?
Giamma, sorry, can you repeat how long it takes this process?
More or less 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
3 minutes more or less.
Okay, because we have issue to hear you because there is the machine going on. But it's okay.
So
3
I'll
minutes.
cover a little. Okay, sir.
No, don't do this.
Okay, sir. I can go away. Okay, so the next section you will make is to put inside the bowl to do the same with the powdered sugar and the flavors. It is important to say that the flavors normally go directly inside the butter because it is best to explode the taste. So I said, I will put some vanilla and some lemon zest. More or less a splash of vanilla you derive. And then lemon zest. Of course, there's not a right quantity, but it goes to the taste of the personal taste. So if you prefer a fresh product, you will put more lemon zest. If you want a cooler one, you will put more vanilla extra. Because okay. As you see, this is the product you have to realize to have. When it is like that, we can put the powdered sugar. Okay. And now we start at a medium velocity for more or less 2 minutes. Speed. Medium speed. Is everything clear right here? Is there anybody that has a question during the working moment?
Giamma, yes, we had problem with the audio because of the machine noise. So maybe you can go, maybe hide the table in front of the camera because otherwise we can, no, where are you going?
I'm leaving. Bye-bye. I'm leaving.
Don't.
I'm here.
Is it possible to move the machine maybe on the counter behind you?
Yes, I think yes. Di spostare qua la macchina. Okay, we'll try. You mean there?
Yeah, we can try because without the noise we can hear you much better. Okay. But with the machine noise, it's the problem of the headphone. They try to, I don't know, reduce the noise, the background noise, so we can hear anything.
Okay.
But
so now that it doesn't work, do you understand everything? Do you have to repeat? Okay, a recap, let's say, a recap. So we put...
Yes, sorry, Giamma, just another thing. Can you assure that your microphone is connected with the phone? Because I'm not sure at this time. I think that we are using the phone microphone.
Okay.
Maybe it's connected. Just check 1 minute.
Allora, qui mi sembra a posto. No, connesso. Ok, no, non è connesso. Cosa succede? Sei disconnesso? Sì, sei disconnesso. Ok, allora il Bluetooth è acceso. The Bluetooth is on. Mi sembra che no.
Maybe, okay, no.
It was on. That's right. Now it is better. Is it better?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Maybe when I try to. Okay. So a little recap. I put in the bowl the butter that was room temperature, and we worked at a high speed for more or less 5 minutes, 3 minutes. Sorry. Then we put the flavors, that is vanilla in this case and lemon zest, and we also put the sugar, the powdered sugar, and we're working at the medium speed for 2 minutes. The total now is 5 minutes of working. You have to reach a very whipped consistency. Okay, when it reaches the consistency, we put an egg that must be at room temperature as well. And we let it work till the butter completely absorbs it. How is the noise now?
It's better now.
Better?
Yeah.
Try to speak.
Is it good now? Good, better?
It's a little bit better.
Great, amazing. Okay, in the meanwhile, we prepare a 𝗏 with which we will squeeze the dough directly to the tin before going to the oven. Okay, we can choose some different toppings, textile or microstar or whatever you want, in order to make nice biscuits. Okay. We will show you how is the butter. Can you see it? This is the consistency. It is more or less a frosting, let's say, but with the butter. At this point, we put the flour and we change the whisker. And we put this one, the K one. At this point, we just have to work the dough a little, just in order to incorporate the flour to the dough. As I was saying, it is a very simple dough in every type, every type of pasta frolla you make. It hasn't got to be worked too much, because if you work too much the dough, you will develop the gluten, the protein of the flour, and it is why I told you that you have to use an all-purpose one or a very poor in proteins, because the consistency of this pastry in every variant you choose must be crumbly, must be loose. If you develop the gluten of the dough, it will be more elastic, and that is translated in hard, okay, in strong. Well, we have to obtain a very light product. So do not work too much, just the time you need to obtain the dough. And that's once you incorporate the flour to the butter and the other ingredients, you work immediately the dough. You don't have to let it relax or stay in the fridge like in the other two methods later. So this is why I already prepared my second page. You can pipe it directly in the tin, and you can choose. You can use parchment paper, of course. You can grease if you prefer a tin, or if you have sleeping mats, you can grease it. Or better, if you want, and if you have it, you can also use the micro-forated one, and it will maintain, with this one of mats, our biscuits will maintain the shape better. You can choose.
Giamma,
In this case, Dimmi, yeah.
a question from Lynn. We can do this by hand, or we need to use the machine?
This is a good point. Okay, for this kind of pasta frolla, it is suitable to have a stand mixer, but you can also make it by hand. It will be a little bit longer, but you can do it. So you can take a bowl, you put the butter, and you have to work it or by hand or with a whisker like this. Okay, you can work it, work with your arm, and you can complete the process also by hand, no problem. For the other one, for this assembly process, you can it is better. It's suitable to use your hand, and with the classic method, it doesn't matter. You can use your hand or the mixer. Remember that our folks, our grandmas, or they didn't have some mixers, so and they also made. Okay, this is the consistency. Did I answer the question, or?
Yeah. Oh, it's okay.
Can I ask to clarify? If you use your hands will warm the butter, and that's a different kind of. If you use your hands will warm the butter, and that's a different.
Yeah, exactly. This is another good point. It depends on which product you want. So for the whipping method, let's say that it's quite better if you have the warmth of the hands, because the butter must be really fluffy. So it is good. If you're making a sablé, you have to be very, very fast in working the butter, because you don't have to warm the dough. So this is a very good point. In every case, apart from this one, from the other two cases, you don't have to warm too much the dough, because another condition to create the gluten, so to break the protein of the flour, is warm. So you have to keep quiet. about that. So it's a very good question. Okay, so this is the consistency. It's like a cream. We put it.
Giamma, can you show close to the other camera? Can you show the consistency of the dough close to the other camera?
Yeah.
The other one, yes. So we can see the consistency. What is active the other? Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. Okay, now we can put the dough into our 𝗏𝗏𝗏. And now you are free to use your fantasy to create the shape you prefer, of course. For instance, we created some biscuits yesterday. And as you can see, we gave to them very different shapes. We made also some roses by coloring the pasta frolla, because you can also color it, of course. And as you can see, you can also use cocoa powder in order to flavor your pasta frolla. Okay, so.
Sorry, Giamma, if we can use the cocoa powder, we should just add how much to the dough, and we should add at the end of the preparation or when you add the flour.
Okay, it's another good point. So you can substitute the 10% of your recipe of the amount of flour. So if you have more, let's say 100 grams of flour, you can substitute 10 grams with cocoa powder, and you put in those with the flour. So let's say that it is a complete substitute of the flour. You can choose, it depends on the product you want to obtain. You can replace the 10% to the 12%. Of course, if you use the 12%, it will be more bitter than if you use 10 grams. And you have to be careful if you put more cocoa powder, because cocoa powder absorbs liquids, so you have to add a little bit of liquids. You can choose between egg white or milk, so let's say a fat protein part. But this is one question that belongs to the balancing of the recipe. And we could talk about the balancing of the recipe for hours. But actually, if you use the 10% of cocoa powder, you are sure that you don't have to add anything else, and you just replace from the flour. All right?
Yes, clear. So I can stay on 10% and just replace 10% of flour with the cocoa powder.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
If you want to try to put more cocoa powder, you just have to control the consistency, and if you need, just put a little bit of liquid. Let's say this. Okay. So okay, I put the dough in the 𝗏𝗏𝗏, and now we're going to create different shapes. For instance, if you like, I don't know, there's ones that are elegant. You can make just simple like this. You can make some roses, S, can you see it? Then rounds, then I don't know, trees, or this. Of course, as you can see, in this case, we mixed the two dough, so the cocoa one, can you see it? The cocoa one and the vanilla one. Just simple by putting the two dough inside the sacapoche, one on one side and one on the other side. And when you squeeze, when you pipe it, they mix and they make this design. That is nice to see. Or this, you can use your fantasy. You can do whatever you want. Okay. So is there any form you want to see it again? Where's the like this? Yeah. I'll try, yeah. Okay. Okay. 12 minutes to 14, 12 to 14 minutes in the oven, static. Okay. Everything is there? I hope. Okay. So now we'll see the other two methods. Now Nico is going to have a look. I'm preparing all the ingredients. Okay. Take butter from the fridge for the sablé. Okay. Just to show you how to make the other two methods, we decided to use the half of the quantity we wrote in the documents we sent. So we wrote for the, let's say that the quantity, the amounts of the ingredients are the same for the classic method and for the sablé one, in order to make it easier. So normally that would be 275 grams of flour, white flour or all-purpose flour, 125 grams of butter, room temperature for the classic, from the fridge, so cold one for the sablé, 110 grams of sugar, granulated sugar, 1 egg, 2.5 grams of baking powder, not soda, powder, and a pinch of salt. Okay, for the classic method, you will also use a half spoon of, okay, so I already told it, 2.5 grams of baking powder. Forget it. Okay, so we will use the same whisker. Yeah, we need to wash it. Okay, 300. So we have the right temperature for the oven is 338 Fahrenheit. So as we have a lot of pastry, we decided to cut into the half for showing you the other two methods. So that is why you see so a little bit. Okay. Okay, so Nico will work with the stand mixer. I will work by hand, and we will make it constantly. Okay. So he's going to put room temperature butter in the bowl. He will use this attachment just for stirring. And we'll put the butter, and he will work the butter with the flavors. So vanilla, splash of vanilla. In this case, no. Okay, why? I will put the flour in a bowl. And I will put the butter that is cold. And very fast, I'm going to stand it because I don't have to warm it too much. It will be a very fast process. Can you please put the special vanilla? Could you put it? Put vanilla. Oh, no, it's okay. Flavor with butter, always. Okay, as you see, it is a very quick process. This is what you have to obtain. Okay, right. Okay, ∑. Then you put the egg, room temperature. And then the sugar. Okay, in this case, it is a little dry because I tried to cut the egg in half, but I couldn't. So I need a little bit of liquid, more liquid. So I take the egg whites. Okay. Okay, now for the table, I use usual. Okay, very quick. And as you can see, the dough is ready. You can see the consistency is a little crumbly, but very good. Okay, now both for the 𝗬𝗏𝗧 method and also for the classic one, we have to let it rest at least a half an hour in the fridge before using it. So we can take plastic paper. We put it rest in the fridge. Of course, I have a dough already rested in the fridge and it is ready to use. So I wash my hands. Okay. 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 Now, before using it, I was saying you have to work it a little. You have to work it a little and very fast because if you want to realize a crust or biscuits, it will break if you use it directly. So this is why you have to make it a little elastic in order to be easier to work. Okay. Great. As you can see now, it is fluffy. And how to make it thin? Normally, I take 2 foils of parchment paper. So it will be easier than to use. Okay. Then you take a rolling pin. You will get like this. And then you start rolling. If you want to make biscuits, you should arrive to more or less 6 millimeters. While if you want to make a short crust or short bread, you should arrive to 4 millimeters. A little trick. You can take some sticks you have in the kitchen in order to be sure to make it all irregular. Okay, because of course we press more on one part or the other one. So to be sure, you can take two sticks. I don't know, maybe those one you have. So it is a little trick in order to make it regular. Technical communication with Nico. Okay, sometimes you just have to turn it and to touch from the parchment paper to be sure not to break or being closed. Biscuits are quite ready. The smell is amazing. Wow. Okay, the fridge. This is the other dough. There is more or less the same consistency, and it has to rest in fridge as well for at least half an hour. But you can also make it the day before the one you decide to use it. And another thing, you can prepare it and you can leave it in the fridge even till a week, more or less, and it won't have a problem. Or if you want to make a big amount of pasta frolla, you can also put it in the fridge and not cooked, of course, just the dough. You put the dough in the freezer, sorry, in the freezer, and you can leave it here till 2 months. So every time you will need it, just take it some hours earlier, defreeze it, and clean it. Okay. Now, a thin, graze it with whatever you want, with butter or with particular spice or with oil, whatever you want. Then, very important, flour. Okay. Okay, so now just cut it a little bit bigger than your tin. Okay. It's very important to push it to the board, then just cut. Okay, and then with a fork, you just have to make a small holes in order to avoid the blobbing of the dough. Now it is suitable to put it in the fridge again for 10 minutes till it becomes firm. Then you can choose to fill it with jam or creams or cheese, whatever you want. It is ready. See it?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you want to make a traditional short crust, you can. Now you can put your jam or whatever you can make the classic decoration. Ready? Wow. In the meanwhile, yeah, okay, those are the biscuits that are ready.
Wow.
Now they are hot. Yeah. Now, as you see, they become a little bigger. This is why this is for the whipped butter, of course, and also because it grows a little bit when you put it in the oven. But those were ready. Cool, of course. Let's see how they are crummy and loose. Oh. Okay. If you want to make the traditional decoration, make strings like this. Then, of course, you put your jam or whatever you want, and then use them to decorate them. Or, if you prefer, you can use pasta. You can use cutters. In order to make biscuits as well, that you can also decorate. In this case, if you want to maintain the shape, the first tip is to put them in the fridge as for the short crust for 15 minutes, half an hour, and then you put it in the oven. Same temperature, so it's 338 Fahrenheit. And if you want then to maintain perfectly the shape, you can use, as I was saying before, those spatial mats that are micro-perfored. See? It is good if you have two of those, so you can put la teglia nera. Sì.
Giamma, there is a name for this mat that are you using?
Yeah, those are. This one is its name is 𝗏𝘃, and it is commercialized by 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗏𝗏. You can find it in the Bay Area now. It is easier to find it. This is a little bit more difficult to find because it is Pavonia Italia. Those are the two, let's say, big company that produce silicone molds. Silicone market is easier to find in the Bay Area, while Pavonia is a little bit difficult to find.
I think Amazon has it because I'm...
Yeah, but they're exactly the same product. As I was saying, to maintain the shape, those are, you can use in general those mats to maintain the shape of every product you're making. For instance, for shoe, for beignet, it is ideal, or other pastry, they're magnificent. You put them here, and then the other one over, like this, and then you put it in the oven. And when you take them from the oven, they will be perfectly shaped. This is a good point. Normally, you can find them in two dimensions. This is bigger, but you can also have the half, or you can also cut them. But it is better if you take the small one. Or if you just have one of those, you can use a normal one like this. I bought this through Amazon, just an Amazon Basic. It is a very good product. You can put it down and then over the micro-perfored one. It is not compulsory, of course. It's just if you want to realize a better shaped biscuit. Let's show them. Let's put them in the oven. Normally, I also put some forks or a spoon or whatever you have, in order to be sure to press a little. Tac, tac. Okay. 10 minutes, 12 minutes more or less. Normally, short crust has been always baked at a higher temperature, but let's say then those last periods, we discovered that it is better to cook them at a lower temperature, maybe for 5 minutes more, but it is better. And it is suitable also for all the other kind of pastry. That's it. It's a general rule that is suitable for a lot of products. Just put it in the fridge. Any questions?
No.
But I will try to prepare a freebie, a document that if you are interested, you can have it just by asking to the girls. We will prepare a PDF or something, a freebie, something like this. So you can have all information I told you today. So a recap to make. There was something interesting that I wanted to. The fridge, okay, we saw that. The aromatic part must always be started together with the fat part. Okay, so the aromatic, the flavor part, always with the fat. So a little, let's say, a little recap. So regardless of the let's say the classic method and the supply one has to stand a little in the fridge, at least 30 minutes. While the whipped method, you work it directly and you cook it you bake it directly. Then another tip: aromatic part or flavor part always together with the butter. Then it is very, very important the strength of the flour. So white flour, all-purpose flour, okay, that is that isn't a strong flour. That means that it has a little amount of protein that is translated into gluten. Gluten give elasticity to the dough, and this is what we have to avoid. So we have to try to we have to obtain a crumbly product. You can also use, of course, other cereals. So you can use, for instance, rice flour or other kind of grain. You can also use whole grain flour. In this case, it is interesting that the characteristic, one of the characteristics of this kind of flour is to give this sense of crumbly. So you can put less butter. You can if you use whole grain flour, you can put the 10% less of butter. This is interesting. So the flour is very, very important. You can also use pasties if you want to make some special short crust. For instance, if you want to use walnuts pastes or pistachio paste or hazelnut paste, you can use it. But it is very important, as they are oily, so if they are fat, it is very important to keep an eye on the total amount of fat. But this is another part of the balancing of the recipe. So it is a little bit difficult, but you can use it. As we said, you can replace cocoa to the flour to obtain a cocoa short crust. We said the 10 from the 12% of the flour. And it depends if you want a sweeter product or a bitter product. You can also use, of course.
I have a question.
Yeah.
From Lynn. Lynn is asking if when you make this cookie in Italy, if you use butter traditionally, or if there is other preference, maybe regional, like, I don't know, lard or...
Yeah. Let's say that it is a very ancient recipe. So butter is a modern is a modern product. So the first dough were made with lard. There are still today some recipes, for instance, the pastiera napoletana, that are made with short crust, which the fat part is lard. So the very important, as I was saying before in the introducing, the very important things you have to put inside the dough if you want to reach a short crust dough. You have to put a fat part, a sugar part, a starchy part, and emulsifier part. Okay. Regarding to the fat part, you can choose between butter, lard, or ricotta, for instance. If you want to to make it normally. But if you want to make it vegetarian or vegan as well, you can also use oil, that is olive oil, or other oil like starch, like corn oil, or like this, but also cocoa butter, coconut oil. So the important is a fat part. If you use a liquid fat, you just have to put this 10% less than the butter, because butter as a liquid part is an emulsion, so it contains also a liquid part. So you have to balance this liquid. Right?
Yeah, sorry. Usually in USA, they use salted butter, but for these recipes, we had to use unsalted butters. Is it correct?
Yeah, it is correct. It is correct, but you can also choose, instead of putting a pinch of salt, you can also decide to put a little part of salted butter and a bigger amount of, so a small part of salted butter and a bigger one, the rest of unsalted butter. It's up to you. You can choose it, but you can also make salted short crust, of course. So if you want to realize a salted short crust, you can decide to use salted butter. Of course, you won't put the sugar, and you can replace it with Parmesan or, for instance, almond flour that is a little fatty. So you can also use it, of course. There's another version, let's say, of the short crust that is neutral, let's say, that is the brisée. Brisée is a very poor dough. It is more or less the same method. It is not more or less. It is the same method of the sablé one. It's exactly the same, but you don't put the egg. So, and you don't put the sugar. So this is why it is a neutral one, and it is used, for instance, to make the quiche Lorraine. This is the base of the quiche Lorraine, and you just put flour, cold butter, and you sand it like the sablé method, and then you put cold water, and that's it, and a pinch of salt, and that's it. In this case as well, if you want to realize a brisée that is a little salted, you can choose to use salted butter.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Then, okay. Okay, another interesting thing. We said that for the classic, the classic method, we put a little bit of baking powder. Yeah, right. Normally, you choose to put the raising elements when you have a poorer dough in butter. So if the amount of butter is lower, normally you put a little bit of raising element in order to obtain as well a very crumbly product. This is another interesting thing. Above all, if you keep an eye on the diet. What else? Yeah, as Isabella asked before, the best kind of dough suitable for containing a humid part is the classic one, so the raised one. Cosa? 10 minuti. Sono 10 minuti. Okay, prendiamo un'occhiata. Any other question? Ancora un pochino.
Giamma, yes, I have a question. What is the difference between the yeast that we use in Italy, like Bertolini, something like that, and the ones that we can find in USA, like the powder, baking powder? There are difference between them or not?
The difference between baking powder and baking soda, is it right?
No, in Italy we use the lievito Bertolini.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's
okay.
The yeast that we use in Italy, but here they use.
You cannot find it. Yeah. Okay. As I was saying, there's, let's say, quite a perfect correspondence between your baking powder and our yeast Bertolini or Pane Angeli and so on. It's more or less the same thing. The only very big difference is that our baking powder are flavored normally in vanilla. This is a big difference, but let's say that it is the same. While the baking soda is a little bit different because it is normally only bicarbonate. That is a resin agent, but baking soda is only made with bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate, while in the baking powder you have sodium bicarbonate and potassium bicarbonate and creamer of tartar. So you have different resin agents. But let's say that it is more or less the same product as an Italy. Did I answer?
Yes. What about the way maybe we want to do like a cake, like pan di Spagna, let's say. I don't know. There's something that you need to, grow in the oven. So it's okay to use the baking powder.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, no?
When you make it, no. No, never.
Oh,
You
no?
reach like the collapsing of the pan di Spagna. So it is a very simple ingredients. Let's say not in the method, but in the ingredients. It's a very simple dough that has to raise all the egg whites that are really bubbly. It's whisked very, very good. They're very firm. So this is the big key to obtain an amazing pan di Spagna, but not the yeast, not the resin agent, not baking powder, not baking soda, nothing of it. You can the only thing you can use if you want to be sure to stabilize the egg white when you whip them, is a little bit of creamer of tartar. Just a little amount of it, just 1 gram, in order to stabilize the egg white, but not other resin agents. or you risk to collapse it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know if everyone has a question, maybe Lynn, Michelle, Donna, Tao, which of these pastry we want to do. I don't know, I'm just asking to the other girls that are connected. Are you there?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Great. Everything is clear?
Almost. I need to review the recording. Yes.
Great, great. Okay. So, now it's time for me to make you some questions. Which, let's say, if I have been good in explaining everything, which kind of pastry do I use if I want to obtain loose biscuits?
The first one. No?
No! The third one, the one we made today.
Bocciata.
I'm sorry, was it? You did cookies at the beginning. What is the difference?
Which kind of pastry do we use if you want to obtain biscuits to decorate?
This is it. The first one.
No, the sablé.
No.
The
Yeah.
sablé.
You got it.
The winner is Gisella.
Yeah, the winner is Gisella. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my God.
Because it is more regular in shape.
Oh,
Simple.
yeah, sure.
Simple.
Sorry, I need to study. It's a difficult.
Yeah.
Pastry is the science. It's not just improvisation. So.
Which kind do we use if you want to realize Linsertorte?
Gisella?
I know the first one, the whipped one.
Yeah, the whipped one.
Okay. Yeah, with the first one. Yeah.
Exactly. So this kind of pastry, you can also use it for making bases for short crust, for tarts like Linsertorte. So you just take your tin, you grease it, butter or oil or spray or whatever you want, flour a little bit, and then you use directly the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 on the tin. You work it like a spiral, and then you can cook it. When it's ready and it is cool, you can put it in the freezer. And when you want to make a custard, a short crust, you can take it from the freezer, just keep it in room temperature, then put it again in the tin, then jam or whatever you want. You decorate as you want, and you put it a little in the oven, just to cook the decoration, and that's it. And it will be ready. So you can choose. You can use it in the tin and cook it with marmalade, jam, ones like the Linsertorte, the very famous Linsertorte, or you can use that basis ready to use to put in the freezer.
Giamma, what about dipping the cookies into the melted chocolate?
Sorry, what about?
Dipping the cookies into the melted chocolate?
Yeah, that's a good point. Of course you can. You can choose to melt the chocolate very gently in the microwave oven, 10 seconds per 10 seconds. You whisk it, you put it in the oven, you light it at not the maximum strength, but just a little bit lower. 10 seconds, then you stir it, then you put it again, another 10 seconds, stir it, 10 seconds, till it is melted. You don't have to cook it, you just have to melt it, so not more than 40 degrees Celsius, or it will burn. Then you can take your biscuits, and put inside the whole one, a half is very nice. But if you want a lighter ganache, you can also use a little bit of oil with the chocolate. And this special glaze is named 𝗏𝘏ʟ, and it is very smooth. So 10% of oil in the weight of the chocolate.
What is the difference at the end? What is the difference between dipping just in a dark chocolate or in the ganache? What is the difference in consistency?
Okay, the consistency of the chocolate is hard, and it is normally if you put the biscuit inside the chocolate, the melted chocolate, you will have a big amount of chocolate on the biscuit, so it won't be really elegant. Of course you can, but it depends on what you want to reach. Of course you want to have. If you prefer a more elegant product, then the 𝗏𝘏ʟ glaze is very simple and it will be thinner, more elegant, and so on. So you can choose. You can also use hazelnut, for instance, or walnut. You can chop them, melt the chocolate, put the dried fruits, then the oil, whisk everything, not whisk, stir everything, and then the biscuit inside, and it will be like 𝗏𝘅, for instance. Okay. Okay, now you can see the shape is quite perfect, and now they are easy to be decorated. Can you see them?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah. Okay, now. Wow. Okay, any other questions? The smell here is amazing.
I'm good.
No question?
No. I want to eat now, but.
Yeah. Well, it means that we have explained everything if you don't have questions. So we have been good. So if you're interested in the freebie, as we're saying, in the PDF, ask to the girls. I think they have your email address, and then we will send you all the things I told you today.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So if you want, we can meet another time. Maybe we can realize a short class, maybe a traditional one like torta della nonna, for instance, with this kind of dough. Or if you have any anything that you would like to see, for instance, pan Spagna, or whatever you're interested in, just ask for, and we will try to make.
Okay. Perfect.
Or if you're interested in the balancing of the recipes as well. It's a very hard thing, but we can do.
Perfect, guy. So I think that we have done.